What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So, building wealth and achieving financial freedom, whatever that looks like for you, is the ultimate goal for a lot of people. And while financial wellness certainly is not everything, it does give you the freedom to do what you want with the people you love, and hopefully even help others with the money that you have worked hard to earn. But there's a ton of garbage and cookie-cutter information out there, especially on the internet, and it can be really difficult to figure out what the best way actually is to build wealth, especially if you are starting from zero or with very little money. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 steps that you can implement in your life immediately to start climbing that financial ladder a little bit faster and hopefully achieve your version of financial freedom as quickly as possible. And I believe in these strategies so much that I will be putting my money where my mouth is and investing $10,000 of my own money at the end of this video, so be sure to stick around for that. Alright, let's jump right into it. Okay, so like I said, there is a ton of information online that is oftentimes really bad information or is just really cookie cutter. And I'll be the first to admit that I have definitely given some of that cookie cutter advice before, like invest X amount of your income or save this amount towards an emergency fund. And it's not that it's bad advice, but oftentimes it doesn't lead to actual action in your daily life. And the other thing I want to mention before getting into those 5 steps is the fact that earning money is easier when you have more money. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people who will probably disagree with that. But the truth is, if you have $1 million and you earn just 1% on that money per year, then you just made $10,000. But if you only have $1,000 to your name, then that same 1% return is only $10. And it's pretty hard to get excited about $10. Now, that's not to say that making money is just effortless when you're wealthy, because that's definitely not the case, and the age-old saying of more money, more problems is definitely true. However, if we are just strictly looking at the percentages, if you were trying to earn, say, $50,000 per year to live off of, then obviously earning $50,000 from your investments, for example, is a lot easier if you have several million dollars to your name. But the point of today's video is specifically to address those of you that are starting from zero or have very little money. So what financial steps can you implement today to start climbing that financial ladder a little bit faster? Well, the first and most obvious step that a lot of you probably aren't going to be happy to hear is you need to start earning money. I know that that's kind of blunt advice that might even come across as a little harsh, but especially if you are starting from ground zero, you need to have some kind of income coming in. And if that means taking on a 9-to-5 job, then awesome, go do that. Go work your 9-to-5 job and then come home and work even harder on some side hustle or small business. Because if you truly want to start building wealth quickly, then you've got to start getting some kind of income going. That way you can then put that money to work and start earning money from your money. I hate to break it to you, but you are never, ever going to save your way to being independently wealthy if you are trading your time for money, and if that is your only stream of income. Now, that segues nicely into my second point, which is don't fall into the shiny object syndrome, as I like to call it. If you've never heard of this term before, it is the perfect name for those individuals who try this popular fad for a little while and then jump into this side hustle, and well, that didn't work out, so now I'm gonna try this side hustle, and before you know it, they end up chasing their tail and never really getting any real results. Now, I've talked about this concept in several previous videos, but it is so important that you actually give your small business or side hustle a chance to actually grow and gain some traction. If it was super easy to just make some income generating online business in 48 hours, then don't you think that everyone would be doing that? So do your research, find a 9-to-5 job or a side hustle or some small business that you are actually passionate about, that you can actually get after day in and day out, and then set a period of time and don't give up on that until at least that amount of time has passed. Now, in my opinion, I think you should at least give it about a year, depending on what you are trying to achieve. And that's not to say that you'll definitely be rolling in money after a year, because chances are you probably won't be. But at the very least, you have given it enough time to know whether or not it is a viable source of income, and more importantly, whether or not you enjoy doing that thing, which is probably a lot more important. So I get it, and I know that it is tempting with all of the content and ideas that we are constantly being shown online and on social media, and it is really hard to just stick to your plan. So take some time and figure out a game plan and then stick to it, and stop tripping over dollars just to pick up pennies. Now that brings us to the third tip, which is a little bit ironic considering considering the circumstances of this video, but that would be to be very careful who you listen to and where you get your advice from. Yes, I realize that that sounds a little bit odd considering here I am giving you advice on the internet about how to improve your finances. And what I would say to that is, yeah, you probably should not listen to some random guy on the internet. But what I do want for you is to actually do your own research, get multiple opinions, and then have enough knowledge on a topic to know whether or not someone truly knows what they're talking about, and more importantly, if they actually practice what they preach, or if they are just spitting out random information in hopes of getting views. I'm not trying to call anyone out, but that's exactly why today I will be investing $10,000 of my own money in this video, and every single step that I'm talking about in today's video are things that I have done or continue to do in my daily life. So, in case you haven't noticed, everyone has an opinion, especially when it comes to the topic of personal finance. So, my suggestion to you is to surround yourself with people and get advice from people who are achieving things that you want to achieve. You probably wouldn't take financial advice from someone who is completely broke with a crazy amount of debt, because unless they are teaching you how to not build wealth and stay in debt, then they are probably not practicing what they preach. And I totally get that that might sound a little bit harsh, but with so much garbage information, do yourself a favor and just get advice from people who are achieving the things that you want to achieve, whether that be financial goals or something completely different. Alright, so at this point you are hopefully making money, you are focused on your goals and not falling over the next shiny object, and you've surrounded yourself with a good environment that allows you to better yourself, better your skills, and maximize your income. So naturally, this would be a great time for me to give you that cookie cutter advice like establish multiple streams of income and make sure that you have a budget. And again, that's not bad advice, but what all this really boils down to is your lifestyle. And specifically my tip to you is don't inflate your lifestyle once your income starts to take off. You can be broke making $100 a month, and you can be just as broke, if not more broke, making $100,000 a month. At the end of the day, it's just math, and it's just one big proportion. And if your income starts to take off, and for whatever reason your expenses follow exactly, well then you'll just end up in a bad situation, if not a worse situation than you previously were in. And the only difference is that there's more zeros at the end of each number. And besides, you didn't put in all of that hard work, stick to a plan, and surround yourself with an environment that allowed you to grow, just so you could go out and buy nice things that you probably don't need and still stay broke at the end of the day. Look, I like a nice car just as much as the next guy, but nowadays especially, the ultimate flex is not a material thing in most cases, but freedom. The freedom to do what you want, when you want, with the people you want to do those things with. And if you are constantly buying liabilities that are losing you money, like fancy cars, just because you now have enough money to buy those things, well, that really is just going to put you in the same spot that you were before. So yeah, go and enjoy your money and enjoy your hard work, and definitely treat yourself every now and then, but do it responsibly and be smart about it, and don't allow your expenses to directly follow your now increased income. And lastly, and perhaps the most cookie cutter advice that I will give you today, but it is really important, is to invest. Now, I'm not going to tell you to invest 10% or 20% of your income, because yeah, that's a good goal to shoot for, but the truth is, you want to be investing as much as possible. The numbers on this are very simple, and they do not lie. The more you invest, the more you will earn. And really, when it comes to personal finance in general, it's all just one big balancing game. So if you want to live a quote-unquote luxurious lifestyle, then that is fine, but that means that you won't be investing as much, which means you'll probably be working for longer, and most likely you won't end up achieving nearly the level of wealth that you could have had you instead been investing that money and not spending it on random things that you probably don't need. So if you can afford to invest 50% or more of your income and still pay the bills, then do it. If you can only afford to invest 5% of your income, then fine, what else are you going to do? But the important thing is that you are at least getting the ball rolling and investing as much as you possibly can. So just as promised at the beginning of the video, I'm now going to put my money where my mouth is and invest $10,000 of my own money. So if we hop into Wealthfront, which is the platform that I personally use for all of my long-term investing, I'm going to click on this smaller individual investing account that I have, since I've already maxed out my Roth IRA for this year. But if you have not yet done that, then not investing advice, but I highly recommend that you at least look into a Roth IRA. So I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen, click on the deposit cash button, and then I'll type in 10,000, choose which account I'd like to pull this money from, and then I can go ahead and complete that transaction. And now Wealthfront is going to pull that $10,000 from my bank account and invest it across my diversified investment portfolio that was made for me automatically by Wealthfront. And if you're curious about Wealthfront or have any questions about it, then I will leave a link down in the description below where you can check out the full review that I did on this platform, and another link where you can get your first $5,000 of investments managed for completely free, which is a huge advantage if you are just getting started. So I hope these tips were helpful and will give you some real action items that you can now implement in your life today. I know that building wealth can seem really daunting, especially if you are starting from zero, but once you get that ball rolling, it can be a really fun journey, and just because of the way percentages work, it will get easier with time. So I would love to know what your plan is to start building wealth starting from zero down in the comment section below, and what methods you plan on implementing to build wealth even faster. As always, if you did get value out of this content and you want to help support me, the easiest way to do that is checking out some of my favorite financial tools down in the description below, many of which will give you some free money, which we always love. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. And of course, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.